Today, I'd like to share with you the secrets of how I kicked a friend out of my house. This friend came to live with me under certain terms and conditions. We would share the rent, as well as the household responsibilities. But shortly after he moved in, he quit his job, and he stopped working around the house. He spent all day eating my food and making a mess. I realized we were no longer compatible. You have to understand something about me. I'm a very non-confrontational person. So at first, I thought the best thing to do was to hint at the matter. I said to him things like, "Hey, you ever think about finding your own place to live?" He looked at me and said, "Why would I? I love it here." As you know, when you don't confront a situation, it only gets worse. After a while, I found out my friend was stealing from me. I knew he had to leave. But the problem was that my friend was bigger than me and stronger than me on the inside. And I was afraid of the confrontation. I spoke to some family members and friends about it. What do I do? They said, "You must get stronger. You have to kick him out of your house." So I went into training. I started the UPS program. I did push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups till I wanted to throw up. I listened to every great motivational speaker, from the late great Zig Ziglar to Tony Robbins. Every day, I would say to myself, "He must leave my house. He must leave my house. He must leave my house. This is my house. This is my house. This is my house. He must leave my house." I started sounding like Dr. Seuss. My strength only grew, and I finally knew the day that I was ready. I walked into the living room, and there he was, assuming the position. Hands behind the head, laying on the couch, feet on my coffee table, TV loud, eating potato chips, crumbs going everywhere. And in that moment, I felt a surge of energy start from my toes, run through all of my veins. I stood behind him, and he didn't see it coming. I said, "Get out of my house!" He shot up, ran upstairs, packed his bags, and was gone the very same day. But I wasn't done. I changed every lock on my doors because I didn't want him coming back. And that is how I kicked my friend out of my house. Now, friends, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, please listen to what I'm about to say. This is the very most important part of my speech. Remove all distractions. You see, that man who is living in my house, he's living in your house too. I know what some of you are thinking. There's nobody living in my house, eating all my food and not paying rent. And some of you are like, "Yes, there is. That's my teenage son or daughter." No, I'm not talking about your teenage, tweenage, 20, 30, 40 or something son or daughter who's still living in your house. I'm not even talking about a family member or a friend. I'm talking about that little voice inside your head. Oh, you know the one. It's that voice of discouragement, that voice of worry, the voice of fear, the voice of negativity, the voice of doubt. I think we've all fought those voices. And today I want to share with you how to get rid of those voices inside your head. But before I do, a very personal note. You see, I myself have struggled with depression. I myself have struggled with worry. I myself have struggled with fear. I myself have struggled with negativity. And that was only a few minutes before I came up here. If you're serious about kicking them out of your house, you have to remove all shame from the idea of mental health. Say, for instance, at the beginning of the year, I called up a good friend and said, "Hey, I'm joining the gym, hiring a personal trainer. I'm going to get myself in shape." My friend would be like, yeah, bro. But what if, with the same level of enthusiasm, I said to my friend, hey, I'm going to hire a psychiatrist. I'm going to start working on my mind. Would I get the same reaction? How is it that we live in a society where it's okay for me to work on my biceps, but not on my brain? Have we become so vain? And speaking of working out, here's an exercise for you. The next time your head has those little guys running in your mind, take them out and create them into a little person. And ask yourself this question. If this thought were a person, would I consider it a friend? The thought of negativity, the thought of doubt, the thought of condemnation? And if the answer is no, you got to kick that thought out of your house. But be sure of this. Don't forget to change the locks on your doors. Because that friend's going to want to come back to live. What are the doors to your mind? There's two entry points. The front doors and the side doors. What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? I think the IT profession says it well. Garbage in, garbage out. My encouragement to you today is to take care of your mental, emotional, internal well-being. I believe King Solomon said it best when he said, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. So the next time those thoughts come running in your head, remember my 5 words of advice.